because I had some technical difficulties and I didn't feel like fixing them. So I have Mr. Daniel Hesselberg from Sweden. I have Mr.
Yes.
Skari, as he's known, Mr. Ridvan, from Canada. And I have a picture of myself that I hand drew of myself right here. Again, I'm literally using my hands to point out what I'm doing right now, but no one can see me, even these guys. Well, we've got some new stuff, man. We've got new shit. We've got new stuff. We've got new things. And I got super excited about it. And I said, I need to go live. And instead of going live and playing games and doing random nonsense, I spent the last hour and a half-ish trying to find all the relevant point changes, rules changes, and everything else. Because, oh yeah, remember that time that GW didn't make any color changes to what was different in the points? So I'm looking through the munitions, whatever thing, and going, which I have on the screen right here, going, what's happening, brothers? So I'm a little sad about that. But let's talk about rules first, man. Let's start at the very top. Hey, you roll off, winner goes first. Period. What do you guys think about that, man?
I'll let you take that one, Daniel.
I think generally you, or at least myself, try to construct a list that wants to. It affects Stormy construction a bit. I just realized, because I typically construct lists that want to go second, or I try to, and now I'll be forced to go.
Same.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't like going first most of the time. Tell you the truth, because I really construct my army to be fast enough to counter punch and counter assault in doing that. So that's
also why I like that list so much, because I can hide, give you first turn, you don't do anything, and then I come out and interact. Like going back to the discussion we've had before with speed is the new strength.
Yeah, I mean 100%.
But now I'm gonna be forced to go first. I don't know how it would affect. It's probably good because the choice is a big thing, of course.
The thing is that I used to, with a roll though does give me a little bit of less tactical flexibility because of the fact that I no longer get to choose, because typically right now I've been recording games and stuff like that. I'm going second about 65% of it, 65 to 70% of the time, effectively winning the roll. My opponent wins the roll, wants to go, chooses, but when I get to choose, I go second. You know what I mean? So my opponent occasionally goes first and wants to go first in the first place. So I've been going first at a pretty good clip. It's under 70, but it's in the 60s. You know what I mean? Because I choose to go second most of the time that I win that roll. So I think that's one of the big things. I actually had that as my number one, just because of the fact that it's a little bit different. Secondary ways, we've got a decent amount of changes too, man. I actually think the biggest change right now is while we stand, we fight. It's 3 units, not 3 models.
I think that's super good.
Bring it down. And bring it down.
Bring it down's a big deal.
I haven't done that one. How much does it affect?
It's 1, 2, 3 now.
So any vehicle that's 10 or less, 1 point. Any vehicle that's 11 to 19, 2 points. And any vehicle. So my Venoms and Raiders are super excited.
Massive.
Yeah,
that's massive. Yeah, I actually think that probably good because the vehicle spam lists, everyone talked about them being super good, but they haven't been that good. So I think they need sort of a buff. So I think that's probably also good for the game.
I think it's both, actually, tell you the truth, because you can bring it down as a more all around type thing though for anything that has type vehicles, but it's not just punishing for super light vehicles to be an auto take. You know what I mean? That's a big deal. I like the last turn.
It's good because when you take an MSU style build, for example, has lots of little units, lots of little vehicles. The fact that you were punished on 2 big secondaries, it was bring it down and then grind them down, and it was you could double whammy on it all the time. At least now it's okay, I'm gonna do the MSU style. You'll get a lot of I'll kill more than you, but I don't get double punched in the gut just because I'm running a list I want to do. And just quickly going back to the first turn roll first or whatever, the changes to the mission with the end of turn scoring for second turn is massive. And I think if they didn't have that roll first, if you win the roll you have to go first, then most competitive players would like, I'm going to go second, because the ability to like have that last ditched effort is
I was going to bring that
so
up next.
powerful.
It's so huge. The last turn now, the fact that instead of, I don't know if you read this one, Daniel, because it's very mildly worded, but then it has such a huge impact because it says if you go second, you change any of the basically the progressive mission to say it's at the second player gets to score the progressive at the end of the turn. So now you can score, and it's whatever the mission is for that. So it's such a big deal because you can reliably get a 10 or a 10 easy, but probably a 15. So a turn 5 15 can literally flip that game for you. You know what I mean? Especially if you were taking it to face. Or to tell you the truth, I mean, lots of my games end up with either 35-40, something like that in the primary a lot of times, you know, where you've got really strong games where it seems that it's 10-10-10-10-10. All of a sudden, if you take the second turn, you get that 15, boom, you won by 5. You know what I mean? That's and that's, I'm not going to lie, it's another thing where I now desperately want to lose that roll to go first. Come on, baby. Like,
absolutely.
Hey guys, I'm going to roll this 4-sided dice against you to see who goes first. But I think that's one of the biggest things. I think it's so huge. I like it a lot. I like where that's going. I just like the fact that I've always thought the second player was bigger in the first place. I've argued ad nauseum about this because people think that going first is such a huge deal, and I always prefer going, except for Dawn of War, which is the outlier because it's the only deployment where you can get alpha struck hard because you can't push back. That's the only one. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I actually do not like Dawn of War. I think that actually, even though it's the oldest, because that's all we used to play forever, you know, in the olden days, I don't like it. I wish it was taken out.
I think it would be better if you just had a little bit extra space in between. Like, you know, it's just, and the fact is you don't really have much room to like push up or like hide stuff. And if you it's
just not deep
mid-board,
enough. Right.
Yeah, if you don't have mid-board deployment or pre-game deployment or redeployment, and especially if the terrain isn't really balanced, that is one of the toughest deployment styles. And I would definitely, because it gives an aggressive army is just like on you right away. Like there's no leeway. Like it's like turn 1, boom, you're like in the thick of it. And at least with the other ones, you've got like some space to kind of like deep into the deployment zone where you can kind of create some space or put some screening units up. It's very hard to do in Dawn of War.
It is so crazy for me that you have just no space. You've got a 10-inch zone, and all of a sudden you're just there. You know what I mean? There's just literally nothing going on. You can't push back. It's literally bothersome to me a little bit on that. What's up, Cisco? But we literally, it just bugs me just because of the fact that it's the only one where you can just there's not a lot you can do skill wise, especially if you're playing an army that doesn't have 4 deploying units. You know what I mean? You're playing your
I mean, the width of the board is sort of the depth, right? So you can play in 2 different corners, forcing your opponent to choose one. And I mean
that's about it though. And that's the thing is that they also have a redeploy, and you know what I mean? And every redeploy they have first turn. If I just mid board right now and I'm playing my Raven Guard, I go, okay, I just won, you know, I'm going first. Cool. I'm going to Master of Ambush. I'm going to move 2 units pre-game. So now I have 2 units of Vanguard vets, a unit of fucking aggressors, a captain, and I'm going to be exactly where you are, 9 inches, you know, less than 9 inches away to start the game, or at 9 inches to start the game. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm just going to auto make all my charges. You can't do anything about that. I don't like that. And but the thing is you can't do that in any other deployment. I could just put my screens, push up, you know what I mean? Make my defensive moves where I can counter you.
I mean, you can still screen your important unit with crap and just make your charges charge crap.
True.
It depends on how you build your army, right?
Yes, but you have such little space to do it, so you end up taking such huge casualties in your army, especially depending on what what you're playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hate if you're playing like custodes, you don't have a lot of screen crap all sudden you're like, I screened out with 1,000 points of my army. I mean, that's a bad example on that because they're so expensive, but you know what I mean. Even Marines though, you don't have that many units that you want to just throw up all willy-nilly and get your head kicked in. But
No.
either way, let's talk about some, because you play a lot of Harlequins, and we've all played a little bit of Harlequins. I love the fact that they finally explain that the
Finally got the warlord trait correct.
Player of Twilight, exactly. They just, I mean, it's not a huge change, but it's like been one of the most argued things for all of 9th edition, basically.
It's like the only change in the Harlequin FAQ is you can just roll this unlimited amounts of times, and you can get as many as you want, as long as you roll it. And to be honest, it's good. Harlequins are really CP hungry, so it's nice to see that they have some way of like mitigating that. And it doesn't come up very like frequently, because you have to like roll literally what you roll, like what you used, so it's like a 1 in 6 chance every time, but at least you can do it like every time, and every time you use a strat, and like it's good. Like I think it's
and
good.
Most stratagems nowadays I think are 1 or 2 anyway, so it won't be a massive change, but of course that it will be better than how it was played before, when you only got 1 whatever you roll,
100%.
you know?
So, I'm a big fan. You know, let's talk about this, because people are going to be hot and heavy, whether they think it's good or whether they think it's bad. But ATVs can no longer be brought back by apothecaries,
which is like that's, you know, it just makes sense. You know what I mean? Like
I've been saying that forever. By the way, that's the reason again, no one can see me, but I'm putting up the big 0 up in front of the camera. I have bought 0 ATVs because I just felt that was always coming. Because the thing is right now, GW is big on trying to negate not even broken things, but feel bad moments. You know what I mean? The fact, and let's be honest, you shoot a unit of ATVs and you kill it down to 1 guy, and you did some wounds on him, and he gets 8 wounds back, and then 3 more wounds on the guy that you hurt, and you're like, I got 11 wounds back. What did you spend? Nothing. I also healed another guy for 3, just as a bonus, just because I was bored.
Yeah. You know what? Get that 90-point super apothecary the F out of here. Like, you can go, like, you still bring back Blade Guard, you can still bring back, you know, other bikes, you can still, like, you know, it's just amazing. You can't just,
it's just the ATV
it's still amazing. The ATV was the only thing that was like, oh, I save 200 points of my army every time. And you're like, okay, great. You know, for a 90-point model, you know, that sounds
awesome. Affordable.
Yeah, you know, that's so balanced.
Yeah,
it really makes me want to play. It really makes me want to play just Warhammer in general. You know, please feed more to me. Feed more. You know, I'll eat spoonfuls of this balance. Well, anyway, that's my salty rant there.
Let me give a good thing for the Marine players, because we all know that I'm an infiltrator homer, and they finally came out and clarified what I've been saying forever. Infiltrators override anything else that tries to get super close to them. So get the hell away from me. Go on, get. No, you stay over. Get off the porch. Get the broom out. Go on, get. Yeah. So, you know.
But that's also like they said that the only thing that supersedes that is coming in right on your board edge, basically with strategic reserves, right?
It's the 1 inch, yeah. That never.
Yeah.
That never
as long as you're within 1 inch, yeah. So that's the only way, basically. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, as long as that's your money in the bank, and I'm 100% fine with that. That's one of those things where. Cool. It's the whole point of them being there. I love them as defensive. I love them, period. So, by the way, I have this super awesome Blood Angels fighting in the background of us, but because of the fact that I made the points window and we have 3 of us crowding the side, you can see about 0.33 millimeters of it behind us. But I want you to know that there's a bunch of Blood Angels fighting right behind us. Epic battle going on.
Epic Blood Angel
battle. Let's talk about small things. They finally, they said, I think we talked, it's been brought up multiple times, but they did it again. Nurglings don't get feel no pains against mortals. I don't think that's been there forever, because but it was brought up one more time. Forlorn. Jesus Christ, Blood Angels players. I've been arguing with people forever about this. Forlorn Fury. You can only use it once, just like every other pre-game move stratagem in the game since the beginning of fucking time. You cannot use it not 3 times on one unit to move 87 inches across the board. I kept arguing.
But you can use it on multiple units,
Yes.
though, correct?
It's
Yeah, okay. So you can use it on 3 different units, but you can't use it on one unit to move them across the table, basically.
And then
Yeah,
one of the other
makes
big
sense.
things they cleared up, and I like this a lot, just because, I mean, they went really in depth. I think they did 9 PowerPoints on it. Embark units, I literally started to write down all the things they did, and then I scratched it all out, and I wrote down in my notes, embark units don't count for shit. They don't count as they're not in the
Unless
field.
you give the that's true. Unless you're open topped and you give the transport something that gets +1 to hit,
Yeah,
and
yes,
it
but
affects the
you
unit
can't
inside.
do
Which is
anything to
like-
the guys inside. You can do something to the vehicle, which everything in the vehicle basically counts for the guys inside because it's one basically unit. It's considered one unit. The vehicle, even the guys inside have all the same things. If it moved, it moved. If it's stunned, you know what I mean? Anything that happens to the vehicle happens to the guys inside, which I like it a lot because it just is an ease of play. You know what I mean? I didn't like...
I have a question on the Forlorn Fury. Do you actually think you can use it more than on separate units? I think it quite clearly states.
I think it only
you
says
can only
once.
use this stratagem once.
Yeah, it just says once straight. But you're going to use it once anyways because it's only on Death Company anyways. How many units do you...
Yeah. But I think you can only
Makes
use
sense.
it
Makes
once.
sense.
Yeah.
So you killed my ATVs.
Fair enough.
I knew
You
the
just
Dingo
pick
was going to
one.
bitch. I love that he did drive very far to get his 9 ATVs, but time for attack bikes to shine. They are. Attack bikes have always been a good choice on that. Thank you very much, though. I always thought that they were a more economical choice. So I think that's a good thing on that.
Something that I'm a little disappointed about is that they didn't really give fortifications any love.
I've always been an
In the sense of, like,
anti-fortification guy, so...
I just wish that they'd be a little bit more lenient if you wanted to bring one, that they'd be more like clearer rules on how to put them down or give them more leeway to bring them or more incentive to. But if you're anti-fortification, then you don't care.
So before we get into straight points, I want to apologize to the NID players because you guys got a bag of dicks as far as your FAQ. We got some points, but like as far as anything that really happened, I looked through the FAQ and went, so apparently they were just like, NIDs, we'll figure it out later. Absolutely not. It says they got updated, but I think that their update was just to tell you to go fuck yourself. That was the update.
Muckalide spores and spore mines cannot perform actions. That's basically it.
And also
they never gain experience in a crusade.
I was saying in a crusade they can't gain experience. So you can't have Billy the Spore become a hero. That was the only thing they got on that. So let's start into this. Let's talk about the fact
and
that
you just let me make a note on that. Like somebody must have close to like the development team done that with a spore for it to be a thing. Like they must have played a game and they're like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give my spore a battle honor to make it move faster.
Yeah,
and you're like, what?
You're like, some guy was like, I'm putting all of my honors on the spore unit right now.
I'm gonna mark this spore marked for greatness, and it's gonna get super. It's gonna get so many experience points. It's so funny.
I love everything about that. So first off, I need to complain because one, if you guys don't know, the old man Brad doesn't see colors very well, so I thought that I just didn't see like the blues and the blacks on the document to show the changes, and I was asking everybody, oh man, can you send me? I can't see it. I must not be able to see the colors. And they're like, no, they didn't change the colors. They just put in points and went, figure it out.
Good luck. That's when we go over to Goonhammer and go, okay, somebody did the work for us.
Exactly. That's about where I'm ready. So
I mean, they put in points in the FAQs. So you mean there
just
are
a couple
point
There's
changes in the FAQs?
Yep. There's not, like, for instance, Eldar has a shit ton of them.
Okay, so I'm just gonna stop reading this now because I'm going through all the FAQs to find the point changes, and it's like it's not that much that have changed. Only in Necrons and like
in Marines. We'll
Marines,
start
there
with
are
the
point
Marines.
changes.
The
That's
big
fine.
thing, well, they put him in the Marines, I think, because of the fact that they had to make sure that people knew that they were trying to placate them. Because Eradicators, Inceptors, Outriders all went up 5 points, and as a Marine player, I'm not that bothered. You know what? I'm not going to change my list at all. I'm going to change it by the 50 points or whatever that it changed because I think I have that many points at least in guys. I will slightly change my list, you know what I mean, to not cheat, and that's about it, guys. They were already really good at 5 points more. They're still really good. I'm not going to stop taking Inceptors.
It's really good. I'm surprised Blade Guard didn't go up. Like, Blade Guard is still really good.
I actually thought they'd go to 40. I'm not going to lie. I thought they'd get a 5 point. I thought they would get thrown in that 5 point deal. So that was the thing. Also, guys, I've kind of looked through this, but I was going back and forth in Battle Scribe and stuff like that. I do not know every points increase. So if I have missed one,
now, if you want to learn,
if
you want to learn about the points changes, honestly, find like the head honcho in like that faction online that has like their own blog about that faction, and they will have already posted the changes because they like the first thing they did was go to like sororitas and like go, this change, this change, this change. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Brad, but it seems like a lot of these point styles are in the new Codex point style. You have a base cost plus like the different options for each unit.
Because that's
so
the way that
base cost includes
the weapon.
The base cost includes,
but it doesn't in everything though. It doesn't in the old books though, because I just looked through it because I thought that the Wave Serpent actually went down, but the Wave Serpent did not go down because of the fact that the Wave Serpent still
pay for the weapons.
You still have to pay for a weapon. All the new books have the base cost of a unit with whatever they auto come with. That will be for making it so much easier. But some of the old codexes do not have that. They have the old, figure out.
Yeah, so for example, I'm going to use the Venom as an example. The Venom is 65 points. However, in its options in this document, it has Splinter Cannon 10 points. Now, because it comes equipped with one Splinter Cannon, you have to pay for that one Splinter Cannon because it says it in the little points, and then if you want to get a second one, you can pay for a second one, but you still have to pay that first 10 points for that Splinter Cannon. So it's 75 points still, which is the exact same as it was.
For here, it's like for all the new books include the stuff, so it makes a big deal, and it's so much easier. I'm not gonna lie. The way that they're doing the news, I won't even complain about the old books just because I want to continue on with this merry happiness. But Marines, those were the only real changes I saw, guys, were the ones they listed, were the Eradicators, the Inceptors, and the Outrider.
I think it's the same in Necrons. The only thing they posted in the FAQ is the only one I see changes on. I'm checking Necrons thoroughly now with my phone.
So,
the ones that have point changes in the FAQ, probably that's everything that happened, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Like, for instance, looked like for me, like, let's scroll way, like, super way down. I want to talk about Eldar. Let's talk about the pointy-eared guys, because we have a pointy-eared man in the house. I just assume that you walk around with a Dark Eldar Vect costume on all the time. Then we'll go back to Chaos. I mean, I would if I had one. Let's be honest. I spend a lot of time. I spend a lot of time in the house. I can get away with a Vect costume. No matter what I would. To be honest, to be fair, no matter what I do in the house anymore, Britt just takes it with just in stride. She's just like, you're an idiot, and I just deal with it. So if I wore a Vect costume every day, she would just be like, you're stupid, and move on with her life. It looks to me like a whole bunch of small changes happened to Eldar and Drakari. Looks like I was going through it. It looks like the Autek Skyrunner went down 5 points, if I'm correct. Dire Avengers, Guardians, Rangers all went down 2 points. Unless I'm missing a gun that I didn't have to pay for.
I think it's 0 points. Yeah.
So I want to make sure. And then the Falcon went down 10 points. and I was excited that I thought the Wave Serpent went down, but I didn't pay for the gun yet. So, because it has it listed down here under the dedicated transports. So it's 130 points, but the cheapest gun I think you can put on it is the cannon or the scatter laser. And both of those are 20. Yep. But I actually thought that the Guardians going down 2 points is kind of a big deal because it gives you an option of something that's cheap, but you still get a decent amount of bodies. You know what I mean? Because the Craft World troops are what I like to consider the worst in the game right now. And they needed a lot of bit of something, but having them be at least a little bit cheaper, not having to pay as much for my Dire Avengers. I mean, that's a 10-point decrease for a Dire Avenger unit. So you don't feel as bad about having to throw in 2 or 3 units, you know what I mean? Making out your battalion or your patrols and whatever. So it gives you a little more options of things. And I'm not gonna lie, those points actually make a difference as you stack up different things. You know what I mean? You have an option for this. Maybe you're fitting in that extra Warwalker. You know, you got 20 points here, 10 points over here. All of a sudden, you get something different. So it does add up on that. What I am super excited about. Let's scroll down just a little bit to Mr. Scari's Drakari. Are we just going to go to the Mojo and just go to Rax? I mean, should we just do the rest of the podcast, the stream on Rax?
Now, let's caveat this. You know, first of all, it seems like characters like the Homunculus, Succubus, and Uri, and like the Succubus and the Homunculus got like just a set point value, which I think is really good.
Yes. And I think that obviously we're getting a new book in, I don't know, a month or whatever. Mm-hmm. So you know everybody's gotten better. So, let's be honest. Everybody's gotten better with their new books. So we know that we're probably getting better characters.
Yeah, I like that. The fact that it's like you can kind of mix and match them and give them the war gear that they're allowed to take, but just like pay like a set point for them. I think that's really useful. You can just kind of like kit them to how you want. Cavalry Warriors went down. Awesome. And I noticed that Blasters went down. Awesome. You showed it to Shredders. So overall, a decent like point decrease. Then we have Rax. Huge point decrease, which does like hint to the fact that they might not be as like tough as they are now. But if they are, then wow. However, they apparently go up to 20 models in a unit, which unless they change some of the stratagems, and which they will in the codex, or at least for like 2 months, big blocks of 20 prophets of flesh,
bringing those back, full
are going to be like
off of somebody's board edge.
Everyone the finger.
No one's gonna remember that shit too, dude. When you all of a sudden go, hey, remember that time that I just brought 20 racks back on your side? You're like, oh.
So, I have a couple of games that are coming up soon, and this is just like taken the list that I was taking before and injected it with like some weird sort of super drug, at least until New Codex comes out. But being able to take 60 racks and a homunculus in a patrol for less than 600 points is so ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So that's like the number one thing. Secondly, I like the fact that like Beastmaster went down points. The Slith that's been super popular went down in points as well. Grotesques went down in points. Incubi stayed the same. Mandrakes went down in points. Cloakies went down. Yeah, they went down 5 points.
Yeah. I also
so instead of 45, they are 40, which is is that's good. I think 40 is fair for them. I think 45 was a little too much.
All right,
maybe the app is updated. That would be amazing.
Let's talk
about Liquefier guns.
It shows
40.
So that's
Let's talk about
so what? Sorry, liquefier guns went down. As a Drukhari player, I'm excited they're like 5 points each now, which is actually half decent for a good flamer. You know what I mean? So
I like liquefier a lot, to tell you the truth. Also, I really, really, really want Mandrakes to be good. They've got such a cool muffin with their little samurai skirt. And let's be honest,
fingers crossed.
I've just been saying, I think that no matter what happens in the new book, I'm taking at least one unit of them, because any unit that's fluff is, they literally live in and out of the warp. They're the boogeyman. They show up to murder you from nowhere. You're like, please make them stop being bad. You're like, this is the stuff of nightmares. You're like, if you were a 3-year-old, I'm gonna punch that guy in the face. Like, you just walk through them. You're like, people are telling you all these fairy tales about, mandrakes showing up in the night to steal people and kill them. You're like, unless you're some guy with a stick, then you just kill him. Move on with your life. They're bad. So
yeah, I like that they go down. They're a very technical piece, so hopefully, like, they went down in points, which is good. However, we'll see what sort of rules they get in the new codex. Like, this is a prelude to what we're going to be getting. Biggest changes, though, things like Reaver jet bikes getting slashed to 10 points a model, which is in line with like the point value that you're seeing for other like cavalry style units that are not Marines, like the AdMech like horse dogs and things like that, where they're paying like 5 points per wound or something. So it's about the same, but
you stole my thunder with that because I wanted to come in hard at the end with those. I've got a piss ton of Reaver jet bikes. I
can take 36 of them for 360 points.
That's very good.
Dude, they're so fast too.
That is
think about it though. Ready?
Ridiculous.
You're forced to go first now. So, but your new tactic going first is I'm going to take
Reaver jet bikes up the ass.
Yeah, and just go enjoy not moving turn one. enjoy your consolidation after you kill my guys. I also have 3 objectives. You have 1. Go. You know what I mean? That's they have a decent sized footprint for that amount of points. Yeah. And to be honest, they that is nice with, and you've seen all the buffs and attacks and everything else that we've seen in every codex. Everybody's basically gotten any unit that's been a consistent unit. All of them have gotten guard, and people have just gotten +1 attack, basically. You know what I mean? The units that were overcosted before. So if you're seeing this unit, get more, get whatever, you'll be able to kill the screen and just block the shit out of your opponent. And tell you the truth, even if they don't kill anything, I still think it's 100% worth it to just sit directly in front of your opponent and get that delicious
good
15-5 like turn 1. You're like, cool.
So good.
And you've got multiple units to do that. They kill that, they try to move up. If your opponent doesn't have enough fly or being able to get over those, you can literally do that turn 1, turn 2, and go, you want to keep playing? You've moved 8 inches in the first 2 turns of the game. You can really corral, especially if your opponent has a very non-infantry based army. If they have bikes and vehicles and whatever else, you can literally just go, oh shit, I can't move through any of these walkways. Cool. Yeah, that's true. I love it. Double. So I have to answer this one. I was going to be playing Hearthstone, and then GW dropped all of the FAQs on me. So I spent about an hour or so trying to figure out all the point differences, all the rules differences, and I did not play Hearthstone. So I was going to. I was ready, actually. And then all of a sudden I went, oh, that is indeed an FAQ.
Something I want to touch base on is Grey Knights. Could someone explain to me why the OP Codex Grey Knights got like 15% point increase on everything?
Well, here's the thing on that. I'm just assuming that they're going to get more wounds.
Marine treatment. Yeah, they must be getting the marine treatment.
I'm not going to lie. I wish I had my camera up because I would show you. Because in my little notes, I put GK and I drew a picture of a dick next to it. Yeah. That's seriously.
Like, I'm just checking. It's like,
good old toilet
that's expensive.
My 2 things that I wrote that I just drew pictures of was GK, picture of a dick, and Tyranids, and I drew bag of dicks. So, Abhor the Witch. We didn't talk about that. Abhor the Witch did get nerfed. It went to 2 and 3.
It did. And combined with the While We Stand, We Fight change, which is now units instead of models, which I think opens it up to a lot more armies.
You're very big. Your Dark Angels players that have that inner circle unit of Terminators that go, I have 10
grotesques. Sit in grotesque and be like, now you have to kill all of us to get these points. Like, I love it. I think that's fantastic.
You're like, feel free to kill this unit that's got you only wounded on 4s. It has a 1-up, 4-up save, has a feel no pain of 5, and we get a guy back a turn.
But Paladins also went up 3 points. Do you think Paladins will get 1 extra wound? So they'll go to 4 wounds?
I don't I would have to say that I thought they would, because anybody that's that, you know, is that big may get the extra, you know what I mean? Because they are basically the beefier Terminator. So it would seem better. And actually Paladins at 4 wounds are significantly better. Just because of the amount of 3 damage weapons that are out there right now. Because you're barely skewing it with, you know, 6 up feel no pain. So a lot of times you're making one of them, but like Paladins, you could, you know, basically take at least two of those reliably, you know what I mean? With that. So I like that a lot. Wouldn't spores evolve into something else? Exactly. I think that we should all protest the spores can't take crusade buffs. My spore will eventually be the hero of the hive mind, damn it. I'm gonna play.
We're back to this damn spore. They're like everywhere. It's like a virus. What? They keep on popping up again? Get out of here.
I want my customs to be on 5 wounds. I don't know. You know what? I'm not going to lie. I actually think that Custodes can do some serious stuff with the change of the units on that. Getting rid of an entire unit of things like Alaris Terminators and stuff like that is a pain in the ass. So While We Stand We Fight might be the new take for things like Grey Knight Paladins, Inner Circle, Dark Angels, Custodes, you know, bigger units and stuff like that, because that's a solid secondary for you, man. If you've got a brick of a unit that people were just leaving alone before, and you have to kill it to the man.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a big deal. I read that and I was like, and I'm like, wait a second, that's insanely good to some armies, because other armies were trying to scam it away. They were taking, because it was, you know, model by model, so you're taking 3 characters that are slightly more than all of your other guys and just putting it in a transport,
like
running them away.
3 commanders in an Astra horde.
Exactly.
Fuck you, man.
Yeah.
Wait, the 3 commanders are probably still most expensive. Astra horde.
That's true. We had some Custodes. I should scroll back to that. We had some Custodes point drops too. I think that's a big deal for them. I'm going to scroll way down. I feel like not talking about anything that went down in Chaos just so I can make TJ twitch a little bit at the house. I think he's at work right now, just to make it. But a bunch of things went down in Chaos, like a whole bunch of 2-point drops for a lot of units. I've got my phone making lots of noise somewhere around me, but
Is that because they're not getting an extra wound?
They are getting an extra. That's the thing, is like a bunch of oddball shit went down. I've got a list. I didn't list everything on the Chaos because I kind of thought we would talk a little more while we were here, but a bunch of things went down. 2 points here. Like it seemed like GW just didn't know what to do with some of the point things and just went, screw it, and went 2 points. They went, I don't know what's going on with that. 2 points for everyone. Any unit that was meh, 2 points. It's like go ahead, 2 points. So, but Custodes got some serious stuff, man. They've got Praetors. I mean, just lots of decent point changes for them. I think you get a lot more in your army with the Custodes right now. Let's actually tell you the truth. Let me pull up the Custodes. Let's look through the Custodes, because I think that this is actually kind of a big deal on that, because you've got everything from the bikes getting a little bit of juice, you know what I mean, to all the way down to your guard squads, you know what I mean. I think that's a big deal, you know what I mean. I think it's the guards went down a few points. Like basically it feels like everything went down just a smidge. So
Guardsmen went up though, didn't they?
The Guardians? I thought the Guardians went down 4.
No, Guardians or Guardsmen?
Custodian guards. Sorry, I'm talking
Guardians. Custodian guard. Yeah, we're talking custodians. It's like Guardians. Yeah, no, they're the basic troop guys.
Yeah, I mean that's a big deal in a unit like that, man. So you're looking at.
I heard that stuff from Forge World went up though, so the good builds overall are on the same amount of points.
Gotcha. So I was just saying the basic stuff all went down, which might actually change the way that you build your custodes, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're getting a significant amount more of your shit right now.
Well, I do think Custodes, like as it stood right now, with like Marines getting such a like point like boost and like all this cool stuff and whatnot, Custodes had like at least regionally really kind of petered off from being like a very big thing, late 8th, early 9th edition, to like having a lot more bad matchups nowadays. So it's nice to see that they're getting some love, because it's always cool to have that like super elite, very tough army be like a counter to a lot of stuff that has trouble with like good armor saves, good normal saves, good toughness. And it's a balancing factor, I find, in a lot of situations, which is cool to have it in the meta, kind of like roaming around like a shark.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, Alaris did go up, but everything else went down. So I think that they're legit. Now, I didn't look through Guard a bunch, so if you guys want to give me the Adeptes, whatever Guard's called now, Astra Militarum, sorry.
The Astra Militarum.
They're called Imperial Guard.
I was to say they're called Imperial Guard. I can't. You can make up your weird term for them, but they're IG to me. They'll always be IG. Damn it. So I did not go through their points because I'm not gonna lie. There's so many nonsense units in an IG army that I did not want to get bogged down. I went to all the stuff that I like first. I went to Pointy Ears, I went to Marines, and I looked through a variety of the chaos stuff to see that half of it went up by 2 points, or went down by 2 points. There's so many things that went down in cost and chaos. But what did you guys see in Guard? Have we looked through those at all?
I think you guys went down in points.
I was saying I'm putting you guys on
Ogren's went down. Yeah, Ogren's went down a point. I think Guardsmen went up in points. I haven't really gone through it with a fine-tooth comb. However, I think in terms of the way that the game plays, we're looking at them taking a lot more advantage of things like the secondaries and things like that. And I think in terms of there has to be like a difference between like, okay, all the point changes and the impact that it has on your list, but you can't look at those in a vacuum. Whether some things went up, some things went down. The fact that like, Big Game Hunter or whatever doesn't have like impact you as nearly as much as it did before, when you have like a couple of chimeras and some tanks and things like that changes like your army composition first of all, and then it helps you win games. So whether your stuff went up a little bit, went down a little bit, it's more than that. It's about, okay, well now if I want, while we stand, we fight, maybe I can have like a big unit of Ogren or something, or like play it differently to win the game with points rather than just trying to like make the most efficient list or whatever. It's a cool thing. I think the changes help with that.
In a chaos, do you guys think that the fact that Raptors, Warp Talons all went down, are they? I think that Warp Talons are still heavily overpriced, even at minus 4 points a model. I think Chosen got a little bit thing. Nurglings actually went up quite a bit. I think it's 4 points.
It did. Yeah, they went up to 22 points, and rightly so. Nurglings and they also did some changes like horror splitting and stuff that got kind of FAQ to make sure that you can't like just string out the models out in a big line and stuff like that. So some of the game mechanics have been polished up a little bit as well.
Yeah, we do have, this is going to change. We got a lot of stuff. We've got the Las Vegas Nopen, the LVO Nopen coming up here. That we'll have to be playing with all the new stuff here, which is going to be kind of fun to stream because we don't have LVO actually happening. We would be there shortly, but you see that Sisters actually got a little bit of a beat. The Retribues went up 2 points. The Repention went up 1 point. The Zephyrim went down 2 points, which is nice for me. And then the Rhino went up a few points also, which I thought was kind of an oddball thing to go up, but whatever. But
you kind of need them anyway to make it work. So like you need a Rhino or two. Really.
I'm not gonna lie. I've been a big Zephyrim fan. I always bring at least one unit in my sister's builds, and I like the fact they went down. It literally kind of flips over for me because of the fact that one of my things went up, one of my things went down. So I really didn't need to find very many points. I was just trying to. The first thing I try to do is take all my existing lists and see how much change I was going to have to
Yeah.
put, in upcoming here, uh, to go on, you know what I mean? But the Repentia going, going up 2. So I basically am running 15 Retributors. That I was like, okay, that's 30 points. I'm running 10 Zephyrim. That's minus 20 points. So I'm up 10 points. I'm just, and the thing is, it doesn't change it that much. I think that these are fair. I don't think that anything, and I'm very happy about it. I'm not going to lie, because there's been times in the past where multiple units have gotten the General Grievous 6 spinning Nerf bats of doom on certain units, where it was just way too much. You know what I mean? I would much rather have them touch units, you know what I mean, multiple times even, rather than having us just get smoked, where it's unplayable.
Have you seen anything
No, I
that
agree.
gone down so much that it could be a new thing? Except maybe rivers, which
Reavers Reavers and Racks. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like playing a game with them like right now.
So I'm not gonna lie. I've put a lot of the point values into this list. Okay, and I want you to just listen to this list. Okay, Archon, 5 Cabalites, 2 Ravagers with Dissies. Homunculus, 3 units at 20 racks. Succubus, 5 Witches, Beast Pack Master, 2 units of 5 Razorwind Follocks, 2 units of 9 Reaver Jet Bikes. Yeah, of course. Yes. And a Tantalus. How many points you say? 1,850 points.
Yeah.
I just went through a ridiculous amount of stuff.
That's so many models. That's a horde, actually.
Crap. Holy crap is what it is. Oh my goodness. You know how happy I am? I'm like a child in a candy store.
I'm not going to lie. The first thing I thought was multiple units. My list in my head, I just stopped at a bunch of racks, a bunch of Reavers.
Are racks the most important, expensive unit as well? So you can play them and revive them and get.
Yes, you can. Mm-hmm. They are 10 points more than my Ravagers.
And so I could definitely make my 3 racks. And you could scam the shit out of somebody. If he hits you, kills 19 of those 20, and you bring him back somewhere else. You're just like, hey, these guys are 5 points, victory points in the corner, nowhere near anybody now. Feel free to come back over here. You have to
kill 60 of these racks. Have fun. Good luck. And also, while you had to deal with 18 Reaver Jet Bikes with Heat Lances and Graph Talons in your face, and Razorwing Flux to soak up mortal wound spam. So I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. I'm just saying.
You know what I was gonna say? Zoe's went up, but Tyrannofex went down 20 points. Does that make it worthwhile at all?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's just, it's still that's the problem right there. When a unit's not even close to overpowered. When I went, hey, that went down 20 points. You're like, meh. Meh. Like, maybe I think about taking it. You're like, that's probably not the best unit in the game right now. Then you know what I mean. So, Hiveguard. Hiveguard did go down though. And I think that's a big deal because I think Hiveguard are one of the overlooked units, and I'll argue that all day long. I think Hiveguard are a great unit that gets, for whatever reason, just people don't like, but I think they have just consistent. They have out of line. Anytime you have out of line of sight shooting, it's just strong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, strong. Especially in this edition, it's extra strong. I think
they're not easy to get rid of. You know what I mean?
No.
So.
They were good on the points there were. So if they go down, that's good for Nids for sure.
Yeah, they didn't get.
Hiveguard is good. Like I've seen a lot of armies have like 10 of them or like a good amount of them. So it's nice to see that a unit that is used a lot went down in points.
Where's the change to horse splitting and not stringing out? Yeah, they don't have any of those anything now yet. The changes that I thought were going to show up that have not showed up, and maybe they're just going to let them go through, are horrors splitting and stringing, Necron warriors, reanimating and stringing out. Those are 2 but maybe they just like that mechanic. You know what I mean? Because it is very tactical. Because you can do things like take objectives away from people. be in, closer to things, contest, take, do, you know what I mean? You can block charges out, you know what I mean? You can do a lot of things with your reanimates and your splits.
Yeah.
You can put people, obviously you can, the biggest thing is taking objectives that you couldn't take in the first place, you know what I mean? That's a huge deal. But also,
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably the biggest, but also you can string them out in such a way that you can re-protect characters, basically charge block things, in all kinds of stuff, you know what I mean, as a good player. So I don't know, I literally don't know the answer to that, as far as what they think, but I kind of like it because I really think that it makes a really good general have flexible options. I mean, sometimes it obviously feels a little bit abusive when you kill 10 of something and 10 come back and they're they're halfway across the board, you know what I mean? But the fact that you can do different things, to take an objective or to block a charge or move, you know what I mean, or get closer to something for the next turn, all of a sudden you're on your next move phase, you're somewhere where your opponent didn't think you could be. I just think I mean, what do you we didn't we talked about the implications of it, but I do want to go back. Double was talking about it. What do you guys think about that forced roll? I mean, what is just your opinion? Not right or wrong, just how do you feel about that roll? We didn't really say that. We just said what the basically the ramifications of it were, but not actually just the opinion of it.
I like it because it makes people uncomfortable. And when it makes people uncomfortable, it forces change in like the mental process that you have to do to take the game. It's going to reward people who can deal with being forced to go first or second. Some people hate it, but it's going to really sort of like bring out your ability as a player to have a plan for both situations in every matchup, on every table, with every terrain and every mission, right? And so player skill will, I feel, come to the forefront a little more. It's going to be less about, oh, I won, I get, I'm going to choose to go second, and F you, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be more about, okay, I win, I have to go first. So I better have a plan within my list to go first in this matchup to make sense of it, right? Or I have a plan to go second. Like, most competitive players plan to go second, or like, because, if you win the roll-off, you can either choose to go second, right? Or if they win the roll-off and want to go first, you can go second. But being forced, even as a good player, to have to go first, it's going to change not only list building, but also like how you approach specific matchups. And I think that's going to create more variety, and creating more variety is going to be very powerful.
What are your thoughts on it, Daniel?
It's going to be horrible for me. I always win the roll.
And then I take second turn, right? Yeah.
You got to change that die out, man. You got to get a different cheater die now. You got to get your leadership dice.
I need to play Blood Angels and Raven Guard together and just win in turn one instead.
If you go first every time with that combo, that is Daniel from Sweden. We've got a multi-country stream here. I decided I needed an international viewpoint for these kind of things. I actually like this though, because I'm not going to lie, the game's a little bit different everywhere you go, guys. You know what I mean? A lot of people get into that whole 40K is this way, and then if you don't reach out, you don't realize that the game's played a lot different. You just play styles, the things that are popular, just the way people go about. You know what I mean? I think it is especially people that want to travel and WTC style and stuff like that, man. You got to be. It's such an eye opener. It was a huge eye opener for me the first time I went abroad and went, oh, you guys are willing to do things a lot different than me. Oh, okay. I still remember the first time I played. This is back when I know you guys are going to be shocked, but as usual, I was playing whatever I thought was the hottest list. So I was playing Grey Knights back in Grey Knights days. And I was playing one of the Polish guys, and he never moved a model off his back board edge. And on turn 5, if the game ends, he gets a tie. And then if it goes farther, I'm just going to table him. And the game ends and he cheers out. He's super excited because we got a 10-10 or an 11-9. And he was just super pumped up. And I was just like, I don't know what's happening right now.
Yeah.
No, that's when it comes to high level competitive play and like, it's a completely different standard. And it's funny to see the mental process of somebody who's really practiced and understands the game and whatnot. It's like what you can get away with that like totally throws people's expectations of what should happen just completely out the window.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's the same thing when you don't know other people's armies, though. The first thing that gets you when you get that, you could win an army, you could win 9 times out of 10 against a certain list, but that one time where you didn't know all the things, the tricks that it could actually pull, you're like, oh, okay, so can we play again real quick now that I know what you do? I feel very confident now that you didn't just do something to kill half my army that I didn't know about. Neil was interviewed. He goes, I'm interviewed about the different metas in Europe. I had no idea what I was talking about. Yeah, we're trying not to burn too many things, guys. I wanted to talk more about 40K than America burning down its own country, but no big deal. Just ignore it. I'm like the Wizard of Oz. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. We're just gonna continue on. 40K. Come to America. We're trying to live it in the dark future. There is only war. But well, I've kept you guys trapped for a while, man. We seriously talked some serious stuff. I'm gonna end this with, what do you guys think? How do you think this is going to change the meta or just the game itself? Like, do you, in your games coming up in the following weeks, list wise and play wise, because we have obviously mission changes, secondary changes, do you think that this is going to make a big impact on the game, or is it just a tiny speed bump and you're not really going to notice it?
The biggest thing I think is scoring in the end of 5, which will force people that have built list that goes first to rethink it a little bit, and therefore it will change the meta quite a bit, I think.
Sky, what are your thoughts?
I think it's definitely going to change. I think it's going to have a big impact, and I think it's going to, like, the impact it's going to have won't be apparent for the first 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Mainly because there's not really a lot of events to kind of go through. But keep an eye out for it and make notes, because it's going to change how we play this game.
I think I'm in the relooking. I'm not going to lie. I started relooking my list in my head because I'm thinking, because I like to go second so much anyways. That lies into it, but I'm not going to lie. While We Stand, We Fight is now a tasty secondary for a lot of armies. I think that's going to change a lot. These armies that weren't getting, I mean, think about it seriously. I don't want to, because I hate Death Stars in the first place, but Dark Angels players, we'll use Dark Angels. Dark Angels Inner Circle Terminators, man, especially on like if you take a 5 objective mission, they take While We Stand, Oath, and Domination, and just don't go anywhere the whole game, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, I own the middle, or even if you're playing that mission, take the secondary for mission, middle. There's a lot to be said for them getting 10, 15 points on multiple secondaries almost automatically now. So there's some armies that become much more difficult to fight.
Reanimation Necrons becomes super boring because they were already the best Necron build, and now it's like, fuck, I really have to kill all those.
Oh yeah, exactly. Enjoy that. You're like, what do you have to do?
Super exciting and entertaining.
You're like, oh, that was already an exciting game. Now I have to kill 60 warriors.
Yeah.
Through reanimations, through resorbs, through the invulns that they have on them.
Yeah.
You're like, oh,
that's gonna suck.
You're like, oh, this is exciting. You're also gonna have I'm not gonna lie, you will have to have some units and whatnot that are gonna put some random upgrade on them so that they're now more expensive than something that somebody wants in the beginning. And this guy also has the boomstick. What does it do? I don't care. It costs 5. He's now more expensive. Definitely the boomstick. All right, fellas, thanks for hanging out with me. I have an impromptu. I gave everybody about 8 seconds notice, and then clearly I did everything I could to make technology happen with my picture of myself. I did make sure you guys looked really good, and we had the pictures of the points really good.
You also looked your best, Brad.
So everybody, thanks for hanging out with us for a minute. I will actually be double Art of Warring it today. I will be talking about Blood Angels and a smidge.
Nice.
So thanks for hanging out, and